Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Appalachian Anomalies podcast. I want to start by thanking everyone for all of the support with the podcast and with the Facebook page, and ask that whatever podcast player you're using, especially Apple, iTunes, if you would just give us that great review, give us the good stars ratings. It really helps get the name out there and get us out to more people to help make more content. Tonight we have a great episode. It's a artistic episode. On this episode, we have an artist from Appalachia. He's actually from my home state, Ohio, born and raised in the same area I was in Scioto County. His name is Steve Free. And Steve Free is an internationally acclaimed award-winning songwriter, singer, and recording artist. He's the winner of numerous music industry awards, including 9 ASCAP awards, a platinum record, and a Grammy nomination. Has charted over 30 songs on the national and international Americana, country, and Billboard charts, including 15 number one songs, while remaining one of the top music folk artists both in the U.S. and in Europe. In 1996, he was named the International Independent Recording Artist of the Year. In 2008, he won the Governor's Award as the number one artist in his home state of Ohio. And in 2009, was honored by the Kentucky State Senate for the musical contributions to Appalachia. He is an Ohio Arts Council and Midwest Arts Council Ohio Artist on Tour. In 2000, he received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Airplane International in Nashville for his decades of international airplay. His song Siege at Lucasville about the 1993 Ohio prison riot was filmed by CBS TV's 48 Hours in 1996, and his song Our Hometown is featured in the PBS documentary Behind These Walls. In 2009, he was honored by being named an official Ohio treasure. In 2014, he has performed on PBS, NPR, and the Nashville Network, and been featured in the AFM International Magazine, GTE Music Magazine in Nashville, and numerous other music industry magazines and newspaper articles. I met Steve at his home. Him and his wife are the nicest, most amazing people, and I just wanted everybody to get to know at least some of the artists and the musicians from the area. But as Steve puts it, he's not famous, he's just well known. And here, without further ado, is Steve Free. I'm here with Steve Free today. Steve Free is a very local and a country artist. I'm going to let Steve tell us a little bit about who he is, and he's just going to lead us around and tell us a little bit.
Well, basically I'm an old folk singer. That's the best way to describe it. A lot of my music's, a lot of the songs I write are about the area, I've been at it for many years, and I've been very lucky to, airplay over the world.
When did you have your first record?
I go back to vinyl. That's how old did it.
When they were good.
When they were good, back in the 80s. Yeah,
when they were good.
It's kind of funny, too, because over the years, I started out, I was a folk singer, then they said I was folk rock, then they said I was acoustic rock, then they said I was country, then they said I was Americana. Now I'm folk again. The only thing that hadn't changed is my music. Because the genres kind of change over time. Yeah. And it's like, call me what you want, I don't care, as long as you play it.
Yep, absolutely. So the platinum record, that's the one that I've seen. That's pretty
impressive.
I've never seen one in real. So up close, that's...
Yeah, international airplays, like 500,000 units of an international airplay or something like that.
For the album Timeline, featuring the song Without Your Love.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen one. Sorry, I'm going to kind of oogle over this for a second. That's pretty crazy. That's great.
That's an international award. I get a lot of the airplay international.
I was reading that you're, and this is the crazy thing with me and all music. It does seem like our more independent type artists are.
Well,
I'm trying to think of what the word I'm looking for. Well, like you said, the folk and the Americana. Here, people just kind of, that's these backwoods kind of listening. But you get to Europe and they're like crazy about it.
I can give you a real quick synopsis of that music industry. Europe and Australia, where I'm really big, places like that, they're like music used to be in America. So basically what it is, back in those days, in the 60s, if they liked you, they play you. The genre didn't really mean. The difference is that's the way most of the radio in the world is. The United States, starting like in the 80s, become corporate. And now they own it. Mm-hmm. That's why if you listen to this station, it's all this, and this station's all that, and everything sounds the same. And they're not independent radio stations. They're corporate radio stations. Basically, like I've even had executives tell me, people think that they listen to what they like. They listen to what we tell them they like. I mean, so they tell DJs what to play. That. They tell you, oh yeah. I mean, I have over the years, I have hundreds and hundreds of friends at DJs. And they'll be like at a rock station or a rap station or a country station or whatever, and they'll say, "We love your music, man, but we can't play it." We have a list, and they not only tell them what to play, tell them who to play. You play this artist 12 times, yeah. So that's the basic difference. Is radio in America is very corporate.
I've heard. I've had a couple people I know, and they're like, we have what we call a carousel. And he's like, it comes to us and says, this is what we play. Yeah. Throw your talk and your commercials in between it and kind of go from there. And there is just so much stuff you've done.
Yeah. It means I'm old.
I wish I could let everybody see it right now, but there is just plaques and awards and proclamations and accommodations and just everywhere.
Well, this is probably my best. These are from the House of Representatives in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And Ohio Senate and the Commonwealth of Kentucky, awarding me, for my contributions to Appalachia. When you get an award from a state that you're not even from, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that is. I admit that's pretty cool. So it's basically just awards for.
See again, here's like this one: Appalachian Moon, Steve Freed, #1 song worldwide.
Yeah.
In GTE Music Magazine, that was 2010. I mean, I don't know. I'll admit, I'm not gonna lie. Kind of stupid ways of thinking. Before really waking up to the world. I never really gave music a chance much either. When I started coming around, like I need to do more things to help this area. My kids live here. I started listening to it, and I told my wife, I was like, I was dumb. So I honestly, literally have downloaded, I have the iTunes Music. So where you pay a subscription, and it's like buying the album. Once the subscription, if you cancel it, it removes everything. Yeah. I literally have everything but your Christmas CD downloaded.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I figured it'd be a little weird driving around listening to Christmas right now.
Well,
and it was so.
The thing is, that's probably my biggest song. If anybody remembers me, it'd be Christmas.
I'm going to be getting to that in a minute. Shortly.
And there's 48 Hours. They came and I was on 48 Hours.
Oh, the CBS show?
Yeah. I don't know if you knew that. The thing, I was like everybody else. I was just a regular folk guy, and the thing that shot me up there, and I tell people, it was like 25 some years, maybe almost 30 years ago, and then I spent the last 25 years fading back. But as far as international, it's sort of been big. But the one national moment I really had was I wrote a song about the prison riot.
Yep. I was going to get to that too.
Prison riot.
Rolled right into it.
And 48 Hours came to town and filmed it.
Yeah,
and playing it live.
And for those of you who don't know, I will recommend you go to Google, and it was 1993? 93. Mm-hmm. And Google the Lucasville, Ohio prison riot of 1993, and it was a horrific event in this area, and it was internationally known. Yeah. A lot of very terrible things happened then. Yeah, because I remember there was yours and one other person who came out with a song.
There was like a rap song.
And none of them worked like yours did. And that's, that doesn't.
Have you ever heard mine?
Yes, absolutely.
It's different. Yes. Yeah, it's kind of, but I remember, and I was like,
but I think
48 hours. I thought, my gosh, you're coming to.
Well, I think, and that's what I was getting ready to say. It doesn't surprise me that they did that. Of course, I was in high school then. Not to make you feel any older, but.
But I'm surprised they came to Portsmouth.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. It doesn't.
The guy got hold of me, and they were having the trial of the guys in Cincinnati, and they said, "We'd like to come and film you playing this song. Is there anywhere you playing live?" And I said, "Well, I play at a little restaurant downtown called the Old Lantern." I said, "You can come there." And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "Could you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay." And I thought, he said, "This is." I thought, "What channel is this? This is like Channel 9 Cincinnati." And he said, "This is CBS." I said, "Oh, okay, that's like Channel 9, right?" And he goes, "Pardon?" I said, "You're like Channel 9, Cincinnati." He said, "No, we're in Cincinnati for the trial." I thought, "Well, was this Channel 9? He says, "No, it's CBS." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "CBS, the big CBS." And I thought, "And you're coming to Portsmouth?" Yeah. I said, "Okay, yeah, we'll find the place."
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't surprise me because the one thing, and I know you say this a lot, more of your song isn't really songwriting, it's storytelling.
Yeah.
And you tell the story in that. While everybody else was just playing off the popularity, you could tell they were just like, "Oh, this happened, blah 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 blah." You tell the story. I mean, not of course into the point of hearing thing, but yours was definitely the one to hear.
Here's where I got everything crammed. More.
Oh my! This looks like my bedroom.
There's a bed there. But here, a Grammy nomination somewhere. But
that was really cool.
but
Now you've won that's the American
Society of Composers.
Composers, Authors, and Publishers, right? And you've won that 9 times?
9 times.
9 times, yeah.
But here's my best.
Watch out there, Max.
You get been lucky the international and national, but the one that means the most to me, probably believe it or not, is this one.
Now, is this your Ohio Governor's Award?
That's the Governor's Award for the Arts in Ohio. And I was named the #1 artist in the state of Ohio in 2008. And at the time, it didn't really sink in, but when you think about it, Ohio is a big state.
Yeah.
And to be the but the thing that really makes me proud is I was like the first ever Appalachian artist.
Yeah.
And and there's so much negativity of our area,
it's
really nice for positive something to.
Absolutely, because I was one of those negative people about it. And I grew out of that quickly. And if anybody does know Stephen hasn't heard the speech, we all actually grew up in the same area. I was literally one road off.
And the governor was from there too. The first governor from this part of Ohio in 200 years.
Yeah, was actually from the same street or same road. I'm sorry that Steve grew up on, and I literally grew up on one road off of it.
I'll tell you a good story too. When I got the award, they give like 5 categories. There's arts, music. It's all arts, but there's music, and then there's like benefactors and the best, the venue, stuff like that. And I remember the year I got it, and I missed the learner that owns all the businesses and stuff. They wanted for donations the arts. Then there was like the Toledo Symphony one, and then the Cincinnati Playhouse, and they give different arts. So I got the individual artist, and I remember I was the only one that's from Ohio. Everybody else had moved in and been here for many years. And I remember that they had their families there. Everybody had a table. So this woman was from Philadelphia. This guy was from New York. This person was from Atlanta, and they all had their family. And I remember one of the winners was a Jewish lady. And she was like part of the Cincinnati Museum or something. And her whole family was there. So I was sitting there, waiting, and her family were there, and these nice little Jewish ladies from Philadelphia and New York were there, her family. So I got up, and they give the artist award last. So I gave my speech, and I got down. When I got up there, if you notice, you've seen it. I said, I want to thank my fellow Appalachian Ohio, and my fellow Northwest, and my fellow duck runner, Ted Strickland, who's the governor. So I come back now, and I'll never forget, and these little ladies sitting there, and you had all the people from like Toledo and Cleveland and all the big cities, Cincinnati, and they said, these little ladies, that was a nice speech, young man. I said, well, thank you. And they said, so your governor's a duck hunter? And I said, I said, no, because you live. I said, no, ma'am. I said, no, he's not. She said, duck hunter? She goes, well, yeah, you said, and your fellow duck hunter, Governor Strickland. I said, no, ma'am. I said, duck runner. And they go, what's a duck run? What do you mean? What's a run? And I said, well, run like a hollow, like that.
Which made it probably more confusing.
Well, no, but here's the best part. So then all the people from like Cleveland, Toledo, they go, what's a holler?
Yeah.
Like I say, they don't even realize we're in the same state. It's kind of funny. It's kind of unique.
Well, I talked about that with another guy here recently, and how
Ohio,
and he was in Pennsylvania. Ohio, you really see it. When you start getting above Columbus, it is a whole different culture.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
You get above Chillicothe is different.
If you're on that side over there,
because I go up, I play up there so much, and people will go same conversation. Different people. Where are you from? Tennessee, Alabama? And I said no.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never got the accent because I've had people say, oh, let me hear you talk. I'm like, you're going to be very disappointed. I don't have it. My parents have it. My rest of my family, my wife, my kids. And I didn't get it. Occasionally, some of the stuff comes out, but...
but this part of
I kind of jealous of people when I hear them talk.
This little corner down here, too, this southeast, we're unique because, like I said, I have the same conversation and people say, well, I'll say, no, I'm from Southern Ohio. And I'll go, Cincinnati? And I go, no, the other side. That's where I go. As far south as you can get, and they go, Zanesville? And I go, no. They go, I said, as far south as you can get on the river. And they go, Marietta. And I'll go, no, we're like 80 miles south of Marietta. And you can see the wheels. They'll go, that's West Virginia. I mean, they never heard of this.
Yeah.
And, I never...
That's why I always tell them, look at the map. You see the little triangles. We have a triangle that goes up and the triangle goes down.
Right.
We're in that triangle that goes down.
I never could figure that out too, but I used to do this big folk festival on Lake Erie every year, and I had a friend up there who played in it, and I'd always tell these stories, and he'd be right there with me, and the same conversation every year. And I kept saying, I don't understand this. And he finally explained it to me, which I thought made a lot of sense. He goes, well, you know why, don't you? I said, why? I said, it's the interstates. Unless you're from there, you don't go there. So I said, they always say Marietta. It's like I said, because 77 comes through Marietta, and then 71 goes this way, and you guys are kind of like there. You don't have an interstate. And I said, yeah, we do. We got 52 and 23. And he said, dudes, that's not interstate.
No, that's a highway.
I said, well, that's how we get out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people, have you ever left Columbus on North Street or High Street? And they're like, yeah. I said, if you just keep going south on High Street, you hit this little towns. Oh, yeah, I drove through there one time. Yeah. And I'm like, them that you missed, that's us.
Yeah.
This kind of thing.
But it's just amazing how people in our own state don't know. Don't even know.
Well, and the funny thing is what I said when you said that, I thought, wow, he grew up right down the road from me. So now I was reading one of the articles about that award because I was trying to see what went into it, and it was cracking me up because you could tell the guy who wrote it was like, oh, he didn't mean duck run. He must have been nervous because in the article he put deer run. And he kept saying deer run in quotation marks. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, I told my wife, I said, you can tell this guy was like, oh, he must have been nervous and messed up. He means that they're deer runners or deer hunters or something like that. Because I said everything in here is in quotations, deer run. It doesn't say like duck run road or something.
Well, you know, this is an Appalachian side, so I got to tell this one too.
Oh, no, perfect.
Oh, yeah. So anyway. I remember we had that bad ice storm in 2003. Yeah. And at that time I lived on a hill. And we didn't have electric, remember, for weeks. And I was up there, and there was snow, and it was freezing. I kept a big fire outside so to keep warm. And I'm down there one day, and I hear this, hey, hey. So I look way down at the bottom of the hill, down the gully. And there's these three guys. And they got uniforms on. And and two guys are real big, and they're carrying all this equipment on foot. And they go, is there a house up there? I said, yeah. Is there a road? I said, yeah. I said, don't move. We're coming up. We're lost. I said, come on up. So they're getting closer to carrying all this stuff, and I could see they were electrical. Remember, because they had people come in from all over nationwide to help us. And they're coming up there, and they're like this, and they get up there, and they're about to die. They're carrying all this equipment, and they're trying to catch your breath. I said, sit down, man, guys. I said, I ain't no electric, but I got some fire. I said, get you some water or something. And they go, man, this is, because, around here, the electric wires go through the woods. So it said, we parked our truck, a few miles back, and we got turned around working on these wires, and we're lost, man. Oh, God, we're so glad to see you. Be walking around for 3 hours. And I said, man, that's awful. And the one guy was the last guy up the hill. He was carrying all this stuff, and he puts it down, and he's about ready to die. He looks at me, and he goes, oh, we're so glad to see you. And he goes, are we in West Virginia?
You've been walking longer than an hour. Then.
I said, well, no, man, you cross the river. He said, why? Why would you think you're in West Virginia? He said, these mountains. I said, there's no mountains like this in Ohio. I said, yeah. He said, you're kidding me. Yeah. I said, you're still in Ohio? I said, yeah. So I looked at their uniforms and it said, Toledo, Power and Light. Yeah.
I had some, it was friends of my mom and dad's when I was a kid. And I remember them coming, they were from Michigan, which Michigan's not like flatlands, but they came down and she was just like, wow, how beautiful are these mountains in the winter? I was like, they kind of looked like that still. And we're like, we don't have mountains. We have hills. And she's like, no, we have hills. She goes, these are mountains, And I'm like, let me show you mountains. Come over this way. We'll take you back this and stuff. Yeah. But
well, if you've been to Toledo, it's like
it's flat.
Yeah. But I never forget those guys. Says, are we in West Virginia? Yeah. Yeah, I got more stuff.
You just been everywhere.
I know. Well, I didn't. I used to try to put on the walls and you just give up and just kind of stack.
And I think like I said, it's almost I have to apologize for never really giving the local music and things a chance when I was younger. Of course, when you're younger, you got to stick with what your friends are doing. But especially, the more you look at it, we know a lot of the people that's come out of this area that everybody would know, and that are the big, these huge names, but you never heard them. It's like once they were going, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm from there, but that's not talked about it. Well, and it's like you have, I know you don't see it, but a lot of any person out there that's listening right now that's a musical artist would see this room and be like, I would take a tenth of this. You know what I mean?
Like,
yeah, the one thing about you, it's all, I mean, you got like several songs about Portsmouth, everything's like, you can tell it's all coming from here, and yet all of these people especially overseas, are just crazy about it.
Well, it's like, it's like, they did the new music mural in Portsmouth. And,
I haven't been down to see that.
And it's got all this, I was really impressed, all the different, there's like opera singers, and jazz singers, and I lucked out. I guess I was the only folk artist they could think of. But it's kind of funny, because I'm on there, and somebody was joking, and they said, you're the only one that's alive that still lives here. Yeah. I said, because everybody else. It's just, when I was growing up, folk music was big. Now it's a different kind of genre.
The weird thing about me is I've always liked, when I've listened to country, I've always liked the more folky type.
Right.
There's certain Christian artists I like, but the biggest reason why I like their music is because it's folks, kind of that folk sounding. Yeah. I love bluegrass. I mean, as a kid in high school, I listened to bluegrass. I had a big jam and stereo system. There'd be times I'd drive around and listen to Ralph Stanley, Well,
it's like this latest award, that I got.
I was going to get to that because that one makes me laugh every time.
Yeah. And, I got this award from this London magazine called Lex Life, which is like Esquire, I guess, of England. And it's an international award, and it's real high prestigious. And the woman, I talked to her on the phone, and this accent is so thick I can't understand it. And she's talking to me, and they tell me they get this. You've been awarded this, best American folk singer artist. And I thought, wow.
By a poll in England. People voted.
No, it's international.
Yeah. It was for the England poll or something. And I was like, holy cow, these people were.
And they're giving the award away like, a week later. And she says, you can come on. I said, look, I want to tell you, ma'am, I'm super, super honored. But the thing is, I said, it says best folk artist. It doesn't say rock, pop, rap, country.
Right.
Which means, folk, I'm a starving artist. I have stuff booked for the next 6 months. I really can't afford to just hop on a plane and go get your, I have contracts. I just can't, I don't make $50,000 a show. I just can't drop by and get your I said, but I'm truly honored. Can you just send it to me or tell me what I get? And she's all real apologetic. And she, well, that's wonderful. You got this. She's going on. She is. And you get this, and we'll be featured in our magazine, international, and you'll be on the press releases going everywhere, all the publications. And then we will send you. You will get this personal, handcrafted, beautiful, on, solid crystal, 250-pound trophy award. And show what I read there, Kevin. I thought, you're going to ship a 250-pound trophy over here, lady? You can't afford that. And I know they were cracking up in the background. And she goes, no, sir, 250 pounds.
It's our money.
And I thought, I said, 250 pounds. She goes, BPS. And I thought, what's a BPS? British pound sterling. Mm-hmm. So then I thought, okay, it's okay.
Well, honestly, that's a legitimate mistake.
Yeah.
Because when you see some of these awards anyway that people get, and they are massive. So I wouldn't have been surprised too much if she would have said, we're going to ship it. It's coming by freight.
But again,
at the same time, you can tell that's where we come from.
I try to keep everything perspective. It's nice to get that award and everything, but again, it's folk music is a unique genre anymore. It's like it's sort of like being named one of the best xylophone players in the world. Yeah. I mean, you're going to recognize, but you're not world famous.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like physical books anymore. A physical book author, one who doesn't get paid to make it digital and pay for all that stuff too. It's the same way. It's a lost art.
Well, you have to know. You have to pick what you do.
Yeah,
it's like I remember. This has been years and years ago, and Ohio University. There's an organization up there, and they had this international folk convention in Knoxville, Tennessee, way up in the Smoky Mountains, and it was bringing folk singers from all over the world. Actually, mostly the ones that not just popular folk, but people that wrote about their area. Mm-hmm. So there was this organization called Rural Action Network up in Athens that does a lot of work in Appalachia. And they knew me, and they asked me, because a lot of my songs are down here, we'd like for you to go down And if you spend a week and we did concerts and you talk,
Right.
interconnect with all the people. And and they said, would you go? And I, oh yeah, I'll be honored. So I went down there and everybody stayed up in this big, and had people like from all areas, like, you had West Virginia, you had out west, you had different genres, like all folk music, but people wrote about their area. Argentina, Mexico. And a lot of people wrote about the issues and stuff. It was great. But they had all these famous folk singers that come in and speak to people. And have you ever heard of Pete Seeger?
I've heard the name.
Pete Seeger's like the godfather. He's like Woody Guthrie, one of the old time folk singers. Massive hits back in the 70s. Him and Bob Dylan, and he's in that era. So anyway, I'll never forget. This is the kind, because like up until then, I was like everybody else. I'll play whatever I can. I'll play rock. I'll play country. Just to, And I remember forget there was Pete Seeger's guys over there and stuff, and they were talking, and they made a speech. The guys made a speech. I was funny. It says, "How many of you here because you want to be famous, you want to be, make it big, rich, and you want to be up on the stage and everybody in packed houses?" 90% of the crowd raises their hand. I'm thinking, a trick question here. So he goes, "That's great." He said, "That's wonderful." He says, "But you're in the wrong place." And everybody's kind of like, "What?" And he goes, "There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be a rock star or a country star or a pop star or an opera singer or, whatever, bluegrass, whatever kind of music genre you're into, that's your goal, is to be a star and to be at the top of your field and to be one that, like that, and be up on the stage and people," he says, "but you people are here because you're folk singers." He says, "So if you're a folk singer, that's not what you want." He said, "If you're a folk singer, you don't want to be up on a stage like that with everybody looking up at you and, oh my God, you're great." He said, "You want to be up close and personal, face to face with people. You want to be on their eye level because you're singing stories." He says, "You want to be on their eye level to let them know that you're just one of them. I'm just like you, and this is the story. It could be you, it could be me." He says, "That's what you want to be." He said, "If you want to be a star, then pick another kind of music. Plus, you're not going to get rich." And he said, but that's what you want. I'm sure a lot of people left there. These guys are crazy, but I remember that just hit me. And I thought, yeah, but it's like making a commitment. He says, if you want to be that, but that's your goal, you want to be. And even today, I do a lot of big shows and but I'm much more comfortable playing where I can talk to people, I can interact with people. But I'll never forget, it says, you want people to know that you're not a star. You're just a folk singer.
Yeah, because once you become a star, you're bigger than life.
Right. And he said, and he said, that's pretty much what he said. And folk singers don't become stars. He said, I'll never forget that. He said, you become well known. You can become well known, and you can be successful, and you can but folk singers don't become stars.
And if you ever really listen to some of the people that are the big stars, you always ask, well, who is it? And it's always these. Well, I never heard of him. Well, I bet you've heard of a song.
Yeah,
and then you name
the song.
Yeah, I've heard all those songs.
That's
before.
What he said. He said because the folk singer.
That's who did this, and that's who encouraged me, and who I looked up to as the person to be like. And then I got to hear. But it's like, oh well, you've never heard of him, but you've heard of me because I'm on the big coliseums and everything.
Yeah.
But this is the guy who got me where I'm at. It's always these people's like, who are they talking about, kind of thing, and you're having to go look them up and stuff. And,
but that's what the guy said too. He says about folk music. He says, if you remember as a folk singer, they won't remember your name. They remember your song. This land is your land, or this or that. And, they remember your song. And it's it's the same way and it's worked out with me, like the Christmas song. People all over the world knew that song. They don't know my name.
Yeah. About the Christmas song, you segued into that really good. Now it's called
Just a Baby Boy.
Just a Baby Boy. I keep wanting to say This Baby Boy.
Yeah.
It's Just a Baby Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I did listen to it on the way here. I got some looks at the gas station playing a Christmas song. but
hey, I'll be playing in the middle of a cornfield in Kansas in July, and people want to play the Christmas song.
Yeah, and I looked it up. I mean, it was the first song that popped up on the Apple thing.
Yeah.
Literally, your first. It was like, these are the top songs. It was that one. Funny enough, Portsmouth, Ohio was the second one. Yeah. And then the one I like, The American Highway, is probably my favorite of all of them. So I listened to it. It's not really your typical Christmas song in general, but at the same time, it's one that it doesn't, people could listen to and be like, hey, this is a nice Christmas song, but it's not. Here's my person who doesn't really have of faith or doesn't believe in this kind of stuff, they could listen to that song and be like, hey, this is a nice song, positive, tells a good story, but there isn't the whole feeling of, I don't know, just the way you did it, it was great. It's very open. I mean, it's, what's the word they use nowadays? All inclusive, I guess. So
okay.
Yeah, and it is. It really is. It's like, it really is. When you listen to it, it doesn't have, it doesn't have that feel of, like I said, I could listen to it on the way here. You know, a couple people must have known what it was because they gave me a weird look while I was listening to it. But at the same time, you listen to it, if you were just passing by it on the street, you wouldn't hear that. You wouldn't think, oh, Merry Christmas. What was this guy doing?
Again, you know, it's what I've told some interviews about people, and I say, well, again, I'm a folk singer and I'm a storyteller. So I'm basically just telling the story. Yeah. You know, you make up your own mind. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm telling a story. One of the greatest stories ever. So
at the same time. But yeah, it really, I love that about it. I mean, I, by faith, am a Christian person. Mm-hmm. Christmas songs don't bother me at all. And stuff. But when I heard that, I thought, I see this. I see why this song really exploded.
Well, and it gets, like in Europe, they play it all the time. And some DJs will leave me in and stuff. And I'll say, why are you still playing this song? You know, they'll take a shot at it. Americans, you know, go, well, to you Americans, it's a Christmas song. You play 1 month a year. So to us, it's a religious song, you know, or it's a story. It's a story. Yeah. So we play it all the time. And, okay, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, hey, and if I knew why, I'd write 20 more like it. I have no idea. It gets done by orchestras, choirs, churches, bell ringing groups.
Well, let's take it even farther and tell them about the town that sings your song.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a town, and this woman got me an email from Canada. This was a few years ago, and she said, I heard your song, because I didn't realize this. They have the BBC, like the national radio in England. Mm-hmm. Well, Canada has the CBC. I didn't know that. I didn't see. We learn something every day. She said, I heard your song on Canadian broadcasting. So I Googled you and found you, and I'd like to get a bunch of copies because we like to sing it in my church. And I said, well, yeah. I said, churches everywhere do it. Oh, yeah, sure. I said, would you, how much would it cost for you if you shipped a bunch of copies to Canada? And I have some of these like mega churches with like, 500 people in a choir or something. I thought, well, I don't know. I mean, how many copies do you need? And she said, 24. I said, oh, that's a piece of cake. Sure, I'll be glad to send you 24. And I said, that's really nice of you. So I'm thinking, small church. It's really nice of you. You're getting a copy for everybody in your church, probably, huh? And she goes, everybody in the choir. And she goes, no. I said, well, everybody in the church? And she said, no. She said, actually, everybody in town.
It's a very small town.
And I thought, where's this at? And it was like Moose Jaw / Cash Island. She said, it's not on the map. You go as far as you can towards the Arctic. So it was kind of funny too, because like, again, I'm just a folk singer. I'm not a big rock or country star. But I know a lot of friends in the business, and they'll get to bragging every now and then. They'll say, well, I did this and I did that and I played swing. I said, well, there's a town in Canada where everybody's got one of my CDs. And they'll go, whoa.
Entire town.
I don't know.
I'm not telling you how many. But yeah. No, I read that and I was like, that, honestly, I've never, of course, when you're a teenager, you know everything about the people you listen to. Never heard a story like that. And I was like, I think he's the first person I've ever heard that has an entire town that has his music and plays it. So yeah, that's a very 24 people.
And the thing is to remember the song. That's the thing. Like, have you ever heard John Leisure?
I have heard of John.
Yeah, John Leisure. Yes. John Leisure is from Portsmouth. He's back here now, but he used to write in Hollywood for years. Mm-hmm. He was a screenwriter. Wrote for like Mott's Landing in Dallas.
Yeah, I was going to say he did soap operas.
Yeah, they did soap operas, and he's back here now. He has a lot of friends that are writers connected with Facebook and stuff. And I seen him one day downtown, and he was telling me, he says, I have a whole new respect for you. I said, why is that? He said, you won't believe this. And this is true story. He says, I have writer friends, and he said, I had two different guys. One was in Latvia, and one was in the Ukraine. And I said, what? And he said, I kind of had the same conversation with both of them. We were talking, and, we were talking about, we got connected through mutual friends, and they were saying, I was from Ohio, and they both had been to the States, and they said, well, where in Ohio? And they go, well, it's in the southern part of the state, in Appalachia. You wouldn't know. It said, there's a little town. It's called Portsmouth. And he said, both of them more or less said the same thing. He says, Portsmouth, Ohio. He said, isn't that where the guy that does Just a Baby Boy come from? And they said, Steve Frieda go, oh, well, I don't know his name, but we know that song. We do it in our church here, or we do it in our cinema. Yeah. And
it's crazy. when you get inspired, a story that inspires. Yeah, I said when you listen to it, it doesn't. Like I said, I wouldn't care. It's just the way you tell it, the way the wording is, and everything. It could be an everyday song. I mean, it doesn't surprise me they listen to it as a more of like, hey, we listen to this on our Christian stations or our religious stations.
I had another one too. I had a Providence, Rhode Island. It was a big Catholic church, and they got hold of me and said, "We're going to do your song." I said, "Yeah." This has been a couple years ago. So Christmas morning, like at 8:00, the phone rings, and I looked at it. It's Providence, Rhode Island. That's the guy I talked to. So I pick up the phone. I said, "Hello." He goes, "Merry Christmas." I said, "Merry Christmas." And he says, "I just want to tell you, we did," I don't know much about Catholics. He says, "I just want to tell you, we did your song last night at midnight mass, Christmas Eve." Mm-hmm. And I said, well, thank you. I said, but you didn't have to call me at 8 o'clock on Christmas morning to tell me that.
Yeah, wake me up.
Yeah, wake me up. And she says, "Yeah, but I just had to tell you." I said, well, thank you. He says, "Why'd you have to tell me?" She says, "Because they did your song at Christmas at midnight mass, and the congregation," it was a big church, I guess, the whole congregation got up and applauded." I said, "Oh, well, that's really nice. You didn't still have to call me." He goes, "You don't understand. The whole congregation got up and applauded." And I thought, yeah. He says, "You don't do that at midnight mass in a Catholic church." Yeah,
they're a little more laid.
So I've never been to one. I said, "Well,
I've never been. I mean, I have friends who are, and the church is more of a. It is more of a. I don't know what maybe systematic. That's not the word I'm thinking of, but it has a path that it follows that goes.
Yeah, and it's funny too because they do it every year. Every year it gets bigger. My promoter down in Nashville always says, for every person that contacts you that they're going to do your song, there's probably 25 others that do it. Yeah. Every year it'll get a little bit bigger, and I'll have like these orchestra leaders, or these mega church choir directors, and they'll call me and I'll go, "We're going to this Steve and everybody else says we're going to do your song at our Christmas concert this year and all this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really honored." And then they'll get real technical, and they'll go, "Now I have a question." On this on this chord, on that bar, on this stanza, the E flat crescendos to the C minor, and then a half a note measure to the B flat. Is that what you did on that verse? And I go, "Yeah." Sure. And they'll kiss me every time. "You have no idea what we're talking about." I said, "Dude, I was a folk singer. There's 4 chords. I can't tell you."
Yeah, that's like, and I think the thing that I'm sitting here kind of loving more and more is the fact that a lot of artists will be like, "This thing's getting huge," and every time they call me, I'm like, "Yeah, you need to get me a new truck, or you need to, you need to," and you're just like, "Hey, I'll just mail it to you,"
Oh yeah,
and that's just, you don't see that, and that's.
Remember you growing up, what they tell you? Don't get above your raisins.
Right? Yeah. Well, that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I've been really very lucky.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even say it's luck. Steve, you have a ton of talent, and it definitely. But like
we say,
shows.
don't give up your raisins. Mm-hmm. It was always told down. I sort of like, it reminds me of remember Tom Petty. Tom Petty was a country boy too, and I remember seeing Tom Petty. I felt like the same thing. And Tom Petty, I remember one time I was talking about all his stuff he'd done, and Tom Petty says, I keep having this thought and this dream that I'm going to wake up one morning and they're all going to come in and say, "Hey Tom, we're on to you, man. You're just a regular guy. Give everything back." Yeah. So I have the same thing. Again, it's that folky thing. You're just a regular guy, and it does transcend into that genre, because over the years, I've been lucky enough to open up for some big name artists of different genres. The biggest names in folk, I've heard, they're just talking like we do. There's no big heads. I mean, it just goes with the genre. I think it's just that's what you're taught. You play folk music and you want to be a folk singer. You're one of the people, and you're just telling stories. So
I was telling you earlier, and like I always say, if you're not happy doing something, you're not going to. It's not going to be a successful venture no matter what. And again, nowadays everybody thinks success means you have your $1 million cars and I have my own plane. I'm very successful, but that's not. Being happy and being happy with who you are and what you do is, to me, the greatest reward of all.
To me, it's hard too.
I've never seen anybody smile as much as you stand here and smile. It's refreshing.
And people tell me, they say, "Oh, you're so talented, it's easy." I said, "No, it's not easy. It's hard." I said, because it's a different thing. Because I travel a lot and play a lot, and never go back to places. And people go, "You got any new CDs out?" I said, "It'll be a while." And they go, "Well, why not?" I'd say, "I'm not Bob Dylan." I said, it takes a long time to write the kind of stuff because, nothing wrong with it, but you're not writing baby, 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 shake this, shake that. I love you, I love you. You're telling stories. Right. So it's kind of hard you got to find a story, then you got to try to flesh out a whole story in 3 or 4 minutes.
And even that aspect, people are so used to, well, this artist brings out a new CD every year. Well, he's got a company paying people to write those songs, and they got stacks, and they just pick out the ones they want him to sing. Yeah. So he sings them. For the most part, there are still some that write a lot of music. So they don't think, but you do not just the words, but you do the music, and it's all got to go together, and then you got to get your band together because.
And I always want to be a story,
Absolutely,
because that's what it is. So it's a little harder to write.
Well, there's the Grammy nomination. Sorry,
that's all right.
I do that. I'm like the squirrel dog.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot in here. House of Representatives, sponsorship of Representative Todd Burke. That's the Governor Awards thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, they went all out and got you all. They kind of hook you guys up with all kinds of stuff on that, don't they?
Yeah.
See, I keep getting a kick, and I keep trying not to kind of chuckle a little because everything that you see is like this awesome artist, and listen to this guy's music, and we love his music, and it's crazy. It's all of these overseas magazines. Yeah. It's just like, why can't this country listen to music instead of like you said, be told what to listen to? And that's kind of my hope. That's one of the things I was like flabbergasted. And like, oh sure, let's go do this. And I told my wife, I was like, this music needs to, any way I can help to get it out there. I want to. This is what people need to be listening to anymore. Yeah.
And then I do a school program too.
I was going to go to that your education program. I've seen that for kids from K through 3 and 4.
Well, actually, I do it all. Yeah.
But I know on your website it says something about those groups and stuff.
And I do that with it's kind of an award-winning thing. I do it with the High Arts Council and stuff like that. And actually, I do a lot of school. I'm getting ready to go about a week or 2 up in Cleveland and Akron, and mostly bigger cities, do like that.
Well, and that's where they need more positivity and more connection back with the land and stuff.
And again, you would not believe once you get above Columbus that how little they know about this area. For what and even the teachers will say, well, Ohio's not part of Appalachia. Yeah, it is. And there was, they don't know about the Native American aspect of this area too. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. I know from your background, you're Shawnee and Cherokee, right? Or,
Shawnee,
mostly Shawnee, yeah. And
first thing I tell you, to give a little
plug for that.
A little plug for that. There's no such word as Shawnee. So it's not how you say it. Like a lot of the tribes' names are wrong. It's Shawanasi, which is much prettier. Shawanasi.
Their language anyway is
Shawanasi, which means
so amazing to hear.
People of the South with silver, because their ancestors were silver. And because legends say, history doesn't say, but legends say it came from Mexico.
Funny you said that. Well, just is when you said people don't understand how much is Appalachia.
Yeah.
It goes through 18 states into Canada, but now they're doing studies that the range actually crosses the Gulf of Mexico and is in the northern part of Ireland. Ireland actually accepts it. They have I'm pretty sure it was a .gov kind of site over there called Ireland Appalachia.
No good.
Because the range is that large, but it goes across the ocean. And now some of these studies they're doing in South America, they're saying these certain mountains and these certain ranges and small foothills that they're noticing are Appalachian ranges. It's that big.
Wow.
And I tell people, because some people are like, well, I have a lot of people wanting to tell me stuff from other places, so I'm going to kind of work that in another way. Look how much it covers. I am Appalachian focused, but I'm focused on each area it's at. So, it goes through New York. I'm fine with all of New York. That's Appalachia because it started there and grew into the bigger areas. I read these, I found all these articles and more, and then I bumped into this Ireland site. It's the oldest mountain range in the world. Obviously, it's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
But it touches everywhere, and people don't. They just it's hard to understand, and they don't understand that how long we have. Well, as we know them, the Shawnee people and the Hopewells, and back even long before that.
And the Shawnee were pretty relative new
and stuff, and how crazy it really is in this area. And the thing about this area, which is why I wanted to start this, is the storytelling, and that's why again I gravitated to wanting to have you, is because it's storytelling. so much of it. I mean, people, I'm not kidding. There's so many songs that you're gonna need a week.
Actually, I am working on new songs since you're here.
Mm-hmm.
That you might find interesting. That a lot of people, and that's what I was talking to Gina Cosgrove today. That's what's sad. I mean, the sad thing about Appalachian is what we've done. We've kind of grown out of it, and people aren't interested anymore because we're such a mixed people. Yeah. Like when I do the schools, and I go to the bigger cities, I can tell just by driving to the next school what neighborhood I'm in because they keep their culture in it. Like I can tell by the names of the store on the storefronts and the names of the teachers when I see the teachers. This is the Polish neighborhood. This is the Irish neighborhood. Yeah. This is the German neighborhood. This is the Jewish neighborhood.
It does seem to be going to a more separated thing anymore, and that's what I say.
And those people, I do this big cultural festival every year called the World Affair in Dayton, the convention center. Fantastic, you ought to go sometime. They have all these different cultures that people live there, and in Dayton they have like 65 countries. They have every country in the world with these people, and they do the dress up. They keep it. But in Appalachia, everybody just is mixed together. Yeah. And we have that Appalachian culture, but now people are losing it. You know?
Well, yeah, and that's what my big thing is. Everybody's lost touch with the land.
Yes.
Take that how you take it. You know, if like with the Indian culture, the Native American culture, the land was a spirit. It was a mother to more to them. And even now, it's like, okay, yeah, most people don't believe that way. You still lose touch with the land, and that land is the people. Is the behavior, the people, all of that's included. Nobody wants to go out and see people. I remember as a kid, if someone knocked on your door, that was something special.
Oh, yeah.
You went, oh, someone's here, and I'm only 40. I'm not like, like I'm 60 or 70 or 80, 90 years old. This wasn't that long ago. It was in the 90s. Yeah. We ran to the door. Who's here to see us? Yeah. Who's here? We were excited. Now it's like, hey, so-and-so's here. Close the windows, turn the light. And it's just that touch. It's lost the touch with the land.
That used to be what we did for entertainment. We go visit somebody else.
Right.
You visit your grandma. You go visit your uncle.
Yeah.
And that's what you did for entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't watch
exactly.
TV. You didn't watch TV. You didn't go to the movie. You went to somebody's house.
Yeah.
For dinner, for Sunday.
Yeah, and it meant something when someone, if someone said, hey, you want to come over? And, I am not going to lie. Everyone's kind of this way anymore for the most part. So why it kind of almost bewildered me when you're like, just come on over. We'll do it. I'm like, he's never met me. And that's the first thing I told my wife.
But you're talking about the ghosts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anything
I don't
like
know
that
if you knew
too,
this, but I'm working on songs for a new CD, which will be done hopefully around October 2022 or something. I don't know. But one of the songs, because again, it's a story. And this is a story I've always heard. And again, I'm surprised that a lot of the younger people have never heard the story because they're not passing the stories down anymore.
That's what my hope is.
There's a book that's called Haunted Ohio. I found it in a book in
Cleveland. Oh yes, I have Haunted Ohio.
Okay, well there was a couple of things about it. Somebody did a story, and it was a big thing, and it was like ghost stories from every county. Mm-hmm. Okay, and there were two in Soda County. One of them was, and I'd heard this story there, a lot of people, about the library. Mm-hmm. Supposedly the library has a ghost. You heard about the lady jumped off the balcony and killed herself. Yeah. Okay. The other one, in this one book I read, one of those episodes, was here. I don't know if you've ever heard this or not. Probably most people. It's right back over these hills. It's Road 2 that goes through the forest. There's a road up there called Dead Man's Hollow.
Yeah.
You know Dead Man's Hollow?
Well, I know of it. I'm trying to think, but I really didn't know, honestly, where it was at when I read it. Okay. So yeah, tell it. But
this was a story, and I'm working on a new song about it. You might have that poetic license. I might have to, because I have to fill in. But the story I always heard was that this was like in the early 1800s, when this was wild. And Portsmouth was just the only place around forever. But there were still people out here trying to establish homes and stuff. So there was this peddler, because they had no way of getting anything. So there was this old peddler from New England, Boston, I guess. Nobody knew his name, and he came to Portsmouth. And he would stay away from those people. And what he would do, he would put pots and pans and all the stuff they need and load everything on his back and walk all the way from Portsmouth, all through these hills, trying to find people that were in cabins and trying to find, and he would sell this stuff. And they said we put everything on his back like a big, like a mountain, and he played the fiddle. So as he walked, because it's taking days, he played the fiddle when he walked, and it was like the ice cream truck. They'd hear the fiddle, he was coming. Well, one year in 1820 or something, I had this really bad winter, and nobody seen him in Portsmouth. He went out and he was gone, and we couldn't find him. Well, the next spring, people come out, they found him, froze on the side of the road, back in Southern Forest here, in that hollow. And they buried him right beside the road. And the grave's still there. Sometimes people will put little decorations on. It's hard to find. But the grave is still there.
Now you don't make me have to go find a grave.
Oh, yeah. And the grave is still, it's right beside the road. And that's why they call it Dead Man's Hollow, because they found him dead there. But
I didn't know the grave was still there. I don't remember that thing saying that.
Well, they got a little marker there right beside the road. But here's the story part that I liked that made the song. Well, the story I always heard was, and I've tried it many times. So far, I haven't connected. But supposedly, it's got to be a dark, rainy night. If you go back there on a dark, rainy night and hang out around where you are, if you listen closely, sometimes he'll play his fiddle. And you can hear the fiddle back in the forest.
See, there's so many of you people that's going to make my wife hate me. Because I'm going to be doing this. It cracks me up, too, with the dark, rainy night thing, though. Because it's like, why doesn't this stuff happen on, a sunny, beautiful day in July?
Yeah. So I'm working on a song with it. And I have a friend of mine in Asheville, North Carolina, who's one of the best fiddle players in the world, named Davy Johnson. I've already talked to him. I said, would you play fiddle for this? So I got the idea, and I've already come up with sometimes on a rainy night, and the air is still and the moon is right, you can hear him fiddle on the wind, and we'll do like a fiddle tune like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to listen to that one.
Yeah, but supposedly, and I've tried it a zillion times, but they supposedly, if you listen real close, you can hear him play the fiddle every now and then.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome to go over and hear. Yeah, I'm going to have to go over and find that grave now one day when I have a little more time. That's going to be something I have a goal for. I have two of them. I have another thing that someone had told me about. I'm like, my wife is going to hate everyone so much by the time I get done with all this stuff. But yeah, I don't know how to say thank you enough. This has been amazing seeing all this stuff. I mean, I knew everyone around here, knows of Steve Free, and I knew that you were famous here. I just didn't really know, and I know you don't like that. It's not really your thing. But
again, you're focused. Well known.
Yeah, well known. Let's go with well known. Yeah, well known. But I didn't know it was quite this well known. And I know you have stuff stored. If people could just see it, guys, he's got totes and boxes, and his is just graced up. And just to let you know, he has a ton of real vinyl albums, which I'm jealous of.
That's right.
So, and if any of you young enough who don't know what the vinyl is, go out. They have them Bluetooth now, so it's technology, and listen to a vinyl album. You will probably never go back to wanting to listen to CDs again, or digital now, I guess, MP3s. I am completely overwhelmed by all this.
And lots of flutes. I play Native American.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What are those called?
Native American flutes.
Okay, I thought they had a name, and I was looking it up, and that's what everything kept coming up. The Native American flute.
Actually, I play a double flute, which is really unique. Have you ever heard of this? Not many people play it.
No, I seen a picture of you with a picture of this thing. It's like it's shaped like a triangle kind of look, and I was like, "Well, I've never seen that."
It's so funny too. When they told me they was going to put me on the mural, I was really honored, and so I went down there, and they haven't finished yet, but they haven't finished all the names and stuff. But I seen my picture up there. And they said, send us some pictures. And I sent them all these great pictures that I wanted. Well, they decided to do their own. They went on and they found this picture of me holding this double flute.
It's probably the one I saw.
Yeah. And I was telling everybody, tell my wife, and I said, I'm really honored to be on there. I said, but look, everybody else has got a microphone or a piano or a guitar.
The thing that they're known for.
Yeah, the thing they're known for. I said, you know what's going to happen? People are going to look up there and say, what the heck's that guy holding? But then my wife came up. She said, well, that's a good thing. I said, why? She says, well,
we're going to ask about you.
Yeah. Everybody else will go, oh, that's a guitar player. What the heck? And I said, yeah, but nobody knew what it is. And sure enough, a friend of mine went down and she took the picture and she put it on Facebook and said, hey, here's part of the new show. Steve's on there. And sure enough, this one person pops in from somewhere. And he goes, what's that guy? What's he holding? Is that a nutcracker? Have you ever heard one?
No, I've never heard one.
You want to hear one?
hope you all enjoyed the interview as much as I did. Steve was a blast. He is a wealth of just stories and smiles and laughter. He's very energetic. His positive attitude and positive aura around him just... I want to segue real quick into here to let you all know what is coming up. In the next little bit of the podcast, I have Steve Free playing that Native American flute that he discussed at the end of the interview. In it, Steve plays 2 different versions of the flute. The first version will be just a Native American flute. It's 1 flute, 1 pipe. Sounds amazing. The music is beautiful. Being on a recording does it no justice. In the second, Steve plays the dual American flute. This thing does look like a nutcracker. It's quite funny to look at, but it has the most beautiful sound. And yes, it is one person playing 2 flutes at the same time. The music that comes from this hits you deep in your soul. You can feel the power of the music behind our ancient ancestors. After those 2 are done, I'm playing a song of Steve's called Count Your Blessings from his CD. I do have all of Steve's permission to play this, and I hope you enjoy his flute and his music. This is a single flute.
Right. There's only 2 kinds of flute songs. There's one is a chant and one's a prayer. You can tell by the way they end. A chant will end on a down note like this. That's a chant. And a prayer ends on an up note because at the end of it, you're sending the prayer up to God. Mm-hmm. And Shawnee to be Mishimini. So this is a double flute, which not many people play. And what I do, I play 2 flutes at the same time. And at the end, we send the prayer up to God. If I do this right, it's very spiritual.
Winds of change can blow so cold, leave you lost and searching for a home. But things are seldom as they seem. No need to give up on your dreams. Keep that light there in your eyes. Never too late to learn, too late to try. When you give all you can give, and you're learning to love, you're loving to live. So count your blessings one by one. Celebrate each new rising sun. Thank the Lord for all He's done for you as you count your blessings one by one. Build your treasures in the sky. That's all you'll need as time goes by. Have a faith you know will last. For in the end all things must pass. Count your blessings one by one. Celebrate each new rising sun. Thank the Lord for all He's done for you as you count your blessings one by one. Count your blessings one by one.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. And if you enjoyed the music, please check out Steve Free's website at stevefree.com. On the website, you can find out more about Steve, find out about where he's going to be, and order his CDs. The music is great, and if you love good stories and love to hear them in a way told by the people that experience them, you will love all of his music. Well, that's the end of the show for the night, and I want to say thank you so much for listening. Ask again if you would, whatever podcast player you're on, give us those 5-star ratings and great reviews. Subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends. The more people it gets out there, the more people it sees, the more content I hope I can provide that you guys will all enjoy. I ask you also if you need to contact me in any way, shape, or form with any stories, encounters, be they from your art to the crazy and weird, contact me at appalachian.anomaly@gmail.com. You can message me from the Facebook page, Appalachian Anomalies Podcast, as well as you can join the group, the Appalachian Town Hall. So again, if you have any stories, any encounters, any art, music that you would like to share, give me a contact. I would love to have you on to share your stories. And if they're the crazy and weird and you don't want people to know who you are, I will definitely keep you anonymous. And that's it for tonight, everybody. I want to wish you all a good night, have a great day, and be kind to each other.
Yeah.